Carrlyn Bathe here from Fox Sports West with LA Kings goaltender Cal Petersen. We're going to consider this first part of the broadcast the waiting room, Cal, so people can kind of come in, click the Zoom link, get acclimated, sit down with their coffees, whatever they're drinking, whatever they're doing right now. So while we're in this little waiting room holding period, how you doing, man? How's Iowa treating you right now? You in Waterloo? What's going on?
It's good. I'm actually in Minnesota.
Oh,
I just got a place here in Edina, Minnesota. So I've actually been kind of busy moving up here and kind of getting all set up. And I'm sure as some people know, I got a little puppy, so he's been keeping me really busy. So it's actually not been too terrible of a time. And yeah, took some time to kind of get some personal things situated out with living and all that. So I'm ready to go, whether it's for the summer or whether we have to go back to LA.
I'm going to ask about your puppy as more people join in, because that was something that I feel like blew up the internet once they saw your little fluff ball who
Mhm.
did not have a name. So we want to hold off on all of the puppy talk because I feel like that's going to be something everyone wants to hear about. So as more people join here, no, you did not miss the puppy talk. It's coming later on. And then another little kind of warm up question here while we're waiting for people to come in. Is there anything you miss the most about hockey? I know that's kind of broad, but just is there just something that you like cannot live without that you're just so, oh man, I miss that so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably just being with the guys in the locker room,
Yeah.
seeing everybody every day, and I think one of the things I was thinking about is usually whenever the end of the season comes, whether it's you make playoffs, you don't make playoffs, however it is, there's a little bit of closure, and this one kind of stings a little bit because there's no closure and you don't really get to have a chance to have a proper goodbye to the guys that you won't see for the summer, something like that. So that part is kind of a bummer, but I'm kind of holding out hope that maybe we'll get together here soon and be able to kind of wrap this thing up the right way.
I feel like it's like being sick on the last day of school and your mom's like, nope, you got to stay in bed. And you're like, wait, I got to say bye to the boys, mom. What the
Yeah,
heck?
can't get your
Except on
grip
a grander scheme of things.
exactly.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think quite a few people have joined now, so I feel like we can kick off this LA Kings exclusive season ticket member Q&A with you, Cal Petersen, goaltender for the LA Kings. And Cal, we've got some awesome questions here that fans have submitted. That these are season ticket members who some have been season ticket members for many years, some are just brand new at this, but the common consensus here is they love this team. They love you guys as players, and they're just so excited to be here for this first Q&A. So I'm going to start off with Ricardo, who he's been a season ticket member since 2006. What's up, Ricardo? I'm going to ask your question right now. He says, I know a lot of players are staying in shape with inline skating, but how does a goalie stay in shape? Did you pick up any rollerblades, Cal? Are you on the inline skating train too?
No, I don't have any inline skates. I have seen a lot of that kind of online and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the stuff that I've been doing is just trying to keep my cardio up, trying to keep my flexibility there, mobility, stuff that when you're off the ice takes a while to get back. And the one thing with hockey is as hard as you can train off the ice, the moment that you step back on the ice, it feels like you haven't done anything. And so that part's tough, but I actually have a Versa climber from my dad from about like 1983 that he
What?
took out of storage and has been put up in the garage. So I've been working on that. But
What's that? What is
it's,
that?
it's like a little thing that's I guess it kind of mimics climbing. It's almost like you're climbing a ladder, but
Okay.
vertically. So
And
it's tough, and it's something kind of I haven't done before. So it's been kind of a fun way to get some cardio in without doing anything crazy or just being on a bike.
For sure. And it's older than you are.
Oh, much older.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. George Pobodinsky, He's been a season ticket member since 1986. I'm sure a lot of fans on the call know exactly who George is when I say that name. George, welcome. I hope you're listening to your question here. He wants to know, what made you choose goaltending as your position, and why did you choose to go to Notre Dame? So kind of a two-parter question there.
Yeah, so my dad was actually a goaltender. He played Division III hockey, so that was kind of something, I guess maybe that was in my blood a little bit. But I actually started out as a defenseman, and after a couple of years switched to goaltending. And I think I just like the gear a lot more. And there's just kind of something about being the only one or one of two goalies on the team that's kind of fun. And then as for Notre Dame, it was actually the first college that I went and visited. I had a couple other places lined up afterwards, but
really,
I just went on the campus and fell in love with it kind of instantaneously. The facilities, the tradition of excellence in academics and athletics. And I think, for me, it was just kind of the complete package that I was looking for in a college. And I was ready to commit there after going through the whole visit, but had to wait till I got home. And then right when I got in the driveway, I called the coach and said I was in.
Wow. What was the defining moment too while you were on that visit? At what point were you like, this is my school, I want to be here?
I think probably just walking into the rink. If anybody's seen pictures or knows about Compton, it's, even playing in the NHL for a little bit, it's probably, the best rink I've ever been in. It's world-class facilities, and just, for college hockey, it fit the perfect amount of people where it always felt full, regardless if it was a sellout or, over a holiday break. So it's just a place that's really special for me. And I think right when I walked in, I saw that, it could be a home for me.
While you were there, I don't know if a lot of Kings fans know this, you wore the C on your jersey. You were the captain of the team. How much responsibility is that for a goaltender to become a captain as well? I feel like that's just rare to begin with. And there's a lot to juggle there, because you're not, you have your own responsibilities in the crease and around the net. But when things happen and captains kind of have to either, talk to the refs or like talk to the coach, like there's a lot of other responsibilities that fall in there as well. How are you able to manage all of that?
Yeah, it was definitely a unique situation, when I got asked to do it. But, I thought it was too big of an honor, to pass up, and wanted to take it as a challenge. And, I think the thing with a goalie being captain is that, it kind of spreads around the leadership a little bit. So as you're saying, I can't be always on the bench or talking to the coaches and talking to the ref. So I was able to, kind of spread some of that leadership onto other guys in my class, other guys that are going to be captains later on, and have, give them a chance to have some responsibility. And so that part, I think, was actually positive in the end. And it was more so just, trying to lead by example, and be, a guy that's never flustered or never rattled, and a guy that's going to work as hard as he can, and be a good figure for the team.
I'm sure season ticket members can see that never flustered still in your goaltending style now. I mean, you just are totally stoic. Nothing seems to faze you at all here. We've got some other questions. Darren Field, season ticket member since 1997. Darren wants to know, what's the best advice Jonathan Quick has given you thus far? I know you guys spend a lot of time together, and is that someone you've ended up, looking up to, learning from? Is he teaching you any kind of different styles? That's a great question that Darren had there.
Yeah. I think it's cool. Obviously when we didn't play with each other, when I was with the Reign and he was with the Kings, we kind of had, I guess, just hadn't spent a lot of time together, didn't really know each other maybe as well. And now that we're together, I think we've started to formulate a bit of a friendship and goalie partnership, which I think has been great so far. And obviously, I mean, everybody knows his accolades, and he's a legend. And so, on one side, to be able to kind of get a front row seat every single day to one of the best to ever play is something that's really special. And it's probably not, a single thing that he's given me advice wise. It's more so just, seeing the way that he, practices and his competitiveness and the way he prepares for games and the way, he plays when the chips are down or the game's on the line is something that I'm trying to emulate and take with me. And I don't think there's any better guy to be able to have as a goalie partner to learn from, as I keep kind of breaking into the NHL.
And what's it like having that healthy level of competition as well? Because I think there's a couple different ways fans can look at it, where maybe they see it as two people constantly competing one another. But if they, if you go to practice, sometimes it's almost like two people just working in a unit, supporting one another. And do you see, or can you kind of explain and enlighten what that healthy competition kind of looks like between the two of you during a season?
Yeah. I think we're both extremely competitive guys, and, whether that's in practice or in games, we're always competing, to be the best that we can be. But at the same time, if it's the other guy's turn to play or, the other guy's doing well or something, we have to be each other's biggest fans. And I think that's really important. And I think it kind of showed at the end of the season. We were both pushing each other. We were both getting opportunities to play, and we were both being successful. And so I think that would be, kind of a good stepping stone moving forward if both of us, can keep elevating our games. As one guy plays well, the next guy plays well, and so on and so forth, and keep pushing each other to be even better. And hopefully that leads to wins for our team.
I think that's something palpable that the fans in attendance can feel and can actually see when you say that. So that's nice to kind of hear that reaffirmed. And I'm sure they're like, yeah, we notice. We can see that. That's awesome. We've got a question here that popped up in the actual Zoom chat. And Demila Rodriguez, I hope that's how you say it. What was your favorite moment from the Stadium Series this year? Cal, I feel like you were like all over the place at the Stadium Series. You were mic'd up. You were getting recorded for the actual broadcast. Like you had a whole little like mini series come out. Yeah. What was that like? And what was your favorite moment from the Stadium Series?
It was really cool. Like you said, I was able to have a GoPro on and mic'd up and got a little bit. But even, since I didn't play the game, I kind of got, the best seat in the house to watch a tremendous game. And
that's right.
And I have a lot of family in Colorado Springs, so it was kind of a date that I had circled on my calendar going into the year, and just thought, if there was any way that I could be a part of that, that would kind of be a dream come true. And the way that it worked out, I was able to get called up right beforehand, so I was absolutely thrilled. And I was basically just kind of soaking in every moment and getting to share it with my friend or my family, and just taking in the whole experience. My grandfather flew in World War II, so it was kind of something that was close to my family. So to be able to share that with them, in such a special place and at such a cool event, was really special. So there's not really one thing that sticks out. Instead of, it's just the whole entire experience, was first class, and, kind of a wonderful memory for myself.
That sounds really special. And it was, like you said, right shortly after you had been called up, and going back to that moment of being called up and knowing Jack Campbell was going to Toronto and knowing, wow, there's a vacant seat here. Can you kind of break down that timeline of what happened mentally, what happened when you got the call, and kind of some of the emotions that you remember to the best of your ability? Because I'm sure that was a whirlwind of an experience as well.
Yeah, it was. It was something that I guess was kind of unexpected and expected at the same time. It was something that, I've obviously been preparing for, for a long time, and it was kind of getting somewhat close to the trade deadline. So, knew there was that opportunity, and just wanted to kind of be as ready as possible for whenever it came. And I was actually golfing that day, and I got back at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, and Matt Luff and I think we're making some grilled cheese sandwiches or something like that. And
great company.
Yeah, I saw that Blakey popped up on my phone, and I kind of, heard a few things kind of here and there. And so I knew that, there could be a chance that something was happening, and talked to him. And he just, kind of laid out the situation, and, said that I was going to have to be on a flight tonight, across the country to New York City. which was kind of cool, and be able to join the team on an East Coast swing. So I was really excited for that, and had to pack my stuff really quick. Find some of the trainers to get back to TSC and be able to pack my gear, and then I was on a plane at 11 p.m.
Wow.
Red-eye flight to New York City.
Yep. And then I feel like we saw you the next morning and it was just like, hello, welcome.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. You mentioned Matt Luff, and somebody actually asked a question here about your cereal eating and why is that really the way that you eat your cereal, or were you just kind of trolling everybody when you said that? Because you put the milk in first, then the cereal, then you eat it and you sip it with a straw. What? How?
Yeah.
Why?
I was actually originally just trying to kind of stir the pot a little bit. No pun.
Of course.
But it was kind of something I wanted to get going. I just kind of thought of it on the spot, but I was actually thinking about it afterwards once it got going a little bit, that it actually in a way kind of makes sense, because when you go milk and then cereal and then you drink the milk with a straw, the milk isn't tainted by the cereal yet, and the cereal is not tainted by the milk, but you get the same crunch. So you're basically getting to eat the cereal with the milk flavor, but without the sogginess. So in a way, it actually makes sense.
Did you kind of change your ways after you trolled all of us with
Yeah,
that?
I'm not a huge cereal eater to begin with, but I did try it on my own that night, and I was like, oh, it's not that bad. It actually was kind of smart. You just need to find the right kind of straw and make sure it's not hurting any sea turtles and it's metal or something like that.
That is perfectly in line with your sense of humor, though, to say something on the spot like that with deadpan, full seriousness, and then everyone questioned the integrity of it after the fact. My goodness. Let's see. We had another question about your dog, which also kind of stirred the pot in the best way possible. When you were doing your Q&A for NHL's Twitter, you posted your dog, which is this brand new puppy, and Chris and Bonnie Stewart with their daughter Avery. Avery wanted to know, what is your puppy's name? Because at the time when you were posting about the dog, the question was, what should I name my dog? And the internet was just giving you name after name after name after name.
Yeah.
Did you end up finding a name? Avery wants to know. And how's dog life going? How's being a dog dad?
Yep, I did find a name. It was kind of one that I've had in my head for a while for when I eventually do get a dog. So his name is Theo, like Theodore.
Oh,
Yep.
it's cute.
Yeah, so he's a good boy, and we're having a lot of fun together. We're just kind of we're learning. I've grown up with dogs, but this is the first time I've kind of been on my own with a puppy, and I think we both kind of have to learn our ways a little bit and get used to each other. But he's going through the normal puppy stuff. We're just getting him potty trained right now.
Aww.
And he's almost knock on wood, he's I think perfect today. So
nice.
Hopefully
no accidents.
No accidents. He doesn't screw this up, and the normal kind of puppy biting, which has been kind of tough on my hands because they're obviously a little bit more raw than usual with good hand washing and all that, and
sure.
little puppy teeth seem to be able to kind of wreak havoc on my hands right now. So he's getting a little bit better at that, but it's probably just me trying to figure out how to get him to stop biting. But
so what kind of dog is he? Because he looked like just a big fluff. what breed is he?
So he is Australian Shepherd Poodle mix.
Come on.
And he's a mini.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
does he shed? Because when you mix with poodles, sometimes they don't shed.
Yeah. He sheds like very, very little. I would say he doesn't shed, but I'm looking at my black sweatshirt and there's a couple hairs. And it might just be mine, but he's done really good so far. But yeah, he's a really cool dog, really unique. He's kind of a showstopper when I'm walking down the street and people see him. So he's a really good dog, and he's a mini, but he's actually supposed to get like 50 pounds. So
Oh, wow.
he's going
That's
to be
still
a
a
little
big
bit,
set. That's like a big dog still.
yeah, he's going to be a little bit bigger than maybe I anticipated, but
oh my goodness. And where did Theo come from? Is that just a name that you liked, or is it after anything special?
I just think I don't know, it's a cool name. I like the name Theodore. You know, Theodore Roosevelt was a cool president in the U.S. and you know, Jose Theodore was one of my favorite goalies growing up. So it's just kind of a name that's always been around, and you know, was something that I liked. But the close runner-up was Shiner, because he's got one black eye. But I thought I thought that might be a little bit too hockey.
Yeah.
Though I might, you know,
Too on the nose with that one. That could be his middle name. You could still utilize it. It's a good one.
Mhm.
That being one of your favorite goalies leads me into Robert Gottfried's question. He's been a season ticket member since 2011. Perfect timing, Robert. You got to see those 2 cups, and he wants to know, who was your favorite goalie when you were growing up?
So my favorite goalie growing up probably was Martin Brodeur. I actually had a fat head of him, if you guys can remember what that is. Those big huge
sticker on the wall.
stickers. Yeah. So that's actually on the roof of my room
What?
at home, and the ceiling.
Right, but so you'd go to sleep at night looking at Marty Brodeur.
Exactly.
Creepy.
And
Love
so
it.
when I came home, kind of during this whole thing, when I left LA, I went back to my childhood room and had to stare back at him. So he's still there. But yeah, he was one of my favorite growing up.
Does he know that? Does he know that, one, that he's one of your favorites, and 2, that he's on your ceiling?
I don't think he knows either.
I want him to know that. That is so special.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if he'd be excited or creeped out, but
I think that's rad. Imagine a kid growing up making it to the NHL, and he's like, "Hey, Cal, you're on my ceiling, and I'm in my 20s, and I still look at you when I go to bed."
yeah, I should probably take that down.
Oh my gosh. So we're going to look at some more questions from Zoom here as well. Emily Martin asks, tell us about Alex Iafallo crashing outside your house on his road trip. For fans who don't know, Alex Iafallo took his Jeep Gladiator, drove completely across the country to his home in Buffalo, and stopped in Cal's driveway. So Cal, what was that like, having your good old friend Alex Iafallo in your driveway?
It was cool. Yeah, he like texted me a couple days before that, man. He was like, "Hey, are you in Waterloo?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "Well, I'm actually driving home. Like, can I just stay in your driveway?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, I have my truck and I'm like just camping out and stuff like that." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man, but you know, like we can find a way to fix you a room and stay away and have your own bathroom and kind of, you know, you can live, you know, like a civil human, like you don't have to live outside."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, man, it's cool. Like I'll just camp out there. I have a heater, like the whole deal." And I was like, "All right, great." And yeah, so he came in, he got in around 9:00, and you know, I got a pizza for him, and we sat out by the fire, properly social distanced, and you know, hung out, and he had to get on the road early, so you know, we had a pizza, had you know, a couple drinks, and then you know, headed to bed, and then in the morning checked on him, make sure he didn't freeze to death, and he got on the road, and it was actually the same day that I drove up here to get my puppy. So there was a lot of moving parts going that day, but you know, I'm glad.
That's an eventful 24 hours.
Yeah, very eventful, very eventful.
Can you enlighten Kings fans too when talking about how Alex Iafallo is kind of this outdoorsy person? He's literally, you know, denying sleeping inside and using running water, and preferred to sleep in his truck. Can you tell season ticket members what kind of person he is off the ice? Because that's the norm with him. He is very much one with the earth and into this sort of lifestyle.
Yeah, he's extremely unique, but in the best way possible. He just kind of, you know, beats to his own drum, surfs a lot, likes to, you know, do quirky things, but you know, everything he does, he's very passionate about, you know, making his surfboards, making videos. So I think it's really cool, you know, that he has all these other passions that he's able to put, you know, a lot of a lot of work into, and it turns into really cool things. And I'm glad he's able to share it, with, the guys. And then obviously all the fans, you get to see, another side of a really great hockey player and a really great guy.
It's fun to watch, that's for sure. It's fun to
Mm-hmm.
see those different sides of you guys and what you're up to. Let's look at these questions again. Diane Walker asks, other than your dad and Martin Brodeur, do you model your goaltending style after any particular goalie in particular? Do you model your style after any one goalie?
I don't think any one goalie in particular. Definitely when I was coming up, there was guys that I more so just saw what made them successful and tried to kind of put it into my own game. Obviously Jonathan Quick, when I was coming up, he's very fast and he's a very good skater, and he moves laterally really well. And so he was somebody that I always kind of looked at to see if, what he was doing, so well to make him, so good and have that part of a game be, hopefully part of my foundation. So he was a guy that I looked at a lot. But, it was more so just, being a sponge whenever I, could get up close or see what different guys are doing. And now I kind of feel like I'm starting to, have kind of a unique style myself, and taking little bits and pieces of, people that I've watched and emulated and having my own unique style.
A follow-up to that, you have a unique style just to begin with your opposite catching hand. How was that growing up? Like, how were you able to, one, find the equipment for that, two, really kind of hone in on that style? Because like how rare it is that you were a captain at Notre Dame, it's also rare to catch the way that you catch, and that's not the standard in the NHL. And was that normal growing up, or were you kind of alone on that island and had to kind of find your way with that style?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of started even before I played hockey. I was playing baseball, and I don't know, my dad didn't believe that I was left-handed or something, so he just got me a baseball glove for my left hand, so I would throw right-handed. And I obviously had just a noodle arm, and I think he was like, oh gosh, my kid can't even throw baseball. And then my mom was like, I think he throws with the other hand. And they just threw a glove on the other hand, and I could just whip it around. And so ever since then, everything, we kind of figured it out. And it's weird, my sister and I only throw with my left hand. I do everything right-handed. And then my sister does everything full left-handed, full left-footed. And then my parents are just full right-handed. So it doesn't really make any sense. But
Wow.
It was a bit of a challenge, getting gear.
Yeah.
You had to find it around the country and get it shipped to you wherever you were. But, it kind of added to the fun of it. And like you said, now it's kind of a unique part of my style.
What was your first set of goalie gear? Like what pads did you get? How excited were you? Do you remember that moment when you finally got your new pads? Because that's kind of a big deal too.
Oh yeah, I remember it really well. My dad and I picked it up from the local skate shop in Waterloo. We had it sent there. There were Cohos. They were the pads that Patrick Waugh was wearing actually when he was playing for the Avalanche, and
Love that.
they were having all that success. So you obviously have to copy the best. And so I was able to get my first pair of pads. I didn't even have. I just wore a normal player helmet for the first year. Because obviously I don't think the guys could raise the puck that high. So I didn't have my first goalie mask for a couple of years, but now everything works out.
And how was your dad letting you, how did he feel letting you be a goalie, having him been a goalie? Was there some sort of pushback there at all? Or was it, something that he was like, all right, go for it? Because I feel like that's such a, I don't even know the word for it. That position is just so like, wow, you want to be a goalie? Okay. And then having had the dad that was the goalie, was there any kind of pushback, or was he like, yes, son, you're going to love this?
No, I mean, I think he actually was a little bit hesitant at first. But my mom was the one that was like, hey, you have to let him play. You have to let him try it out. And so thankfully for her. But I think he was more so just, goaltending obviously kind of carries a different set of stresses, and you at times have a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on your shoulders, and you have a lot of influence over the games, wins or losses. And so I think he obviously went through it as a goaltender himself through college, and I don't know if he wanted to put his son through that. but ever since that day, I mean, I think it's a blessing that we've decided to go down this path together and share this. And so I'm sure he's very glad it all worked out. But it's probably for a couple stressful games that he's had to watch. Knowing what it's like being in my shoes.
I'm sure there's a lot of Kings fans that are happy as well, because it definitely all worked out. There's a couple questions. Oh, we got a lot of questions here in the Zoom. Let's see. Robert Bustamante. Pardon me if I said that wrong. My teenage nephew loves and has been playing goalie. What advice would you give to a teenage goaltender with aspirations for playing on hockey's largest stage? Great question, Robert.
I would say, having fun is the number one thing. For sure, making sure that you're playing other sports in the summer. I would play baseball all the time. I was a catcher, and I think that actually translated to hockey really well.
Wow.
Being able to catch balls off the dirt, and
yeah,
it's obviously just similar situations, blocking the ball. And on top of that, just the foundation is your biggest key, and the fundamentals are what get you there, and it's stuff that I even continue working on today. So don't think that there's some things that I'm working on that are not in your toolbox. It's all stuff that all stems from having a really good foundation, and that kind of starts with having great fundamentals.
How much does the baseball catching help with the hand-eye coordination? A lot.
I think it helps a ton. Yeah. It helped me out a lot. The only thing was I was a lefty, and lefty catchers don't really make it too far in baseball. So I'm glad
I'm
glad I had hockey to fall back on.
My goodness. Let's see what these other questions are. This one's just a statement from Monica Flores, and I love this. It just says, Cal, we love you. We're so happy you're a king. That's great.
Very nice.
Very nice, Monica. And Terry Simpson asks, how is it different for you to work with Quick and Emu versus your coaches on the Reign? So you were working with Matt Millar after Dusty parted ways, if I do recall. So, but maybe kind of reference both of them. What was it like to work with Quick, Emu, and Matt versus, maybe some other coaches that you've had before coming to the Kings? I could have spin that a little bit.
Yeah. I'll start with Dusty. He was great from day one. He and Billy were the two guys that kind of identified me and wanted me to be a part of the Kings. And I had met Dusty a little bit earlier at a camp, so we had kind of a little bit of a previous relationship. But obviously, a lot's been said about him. How great of a guy he is, how much he cares, about the individual and the goaltender at the same time. And that obviously, rang true with me. And he was a really big part of my success so far. And, a guy that continues to be in my corner, which is great. And Matt was able to come in this year and kind of pick up right where he left off. And he's a great guy. He loves to learn about goaltending. He's very knowledgeable. He's very enthusiastic and very sincere. And like Dusty too, he cares about the individual and the goaltender. Which is huge, and he's going to be a really good coach for a long time. And then obviously, with Billy too, everybody knows, about him. Not a lot has to be said. He's kind of the king of, goalie coaches when it comes to that. And I'm really glad that, we're able to work together now kind of on a full-time basis and be able to, kind of move forward and bring my game to a new level. And then being goalie partners with Quickie is obviously really cool. And again, kind of a dream come true when you're playing in the NHL and you get to be goalie partners with him. So I'm very fortunate and blessed to kind of have such good people, working with me in my corner.
You got a great group there. You really do. Really do. Okay. There was another question here from an anonymous person who wants to know, who was the biggest defensive liability during your time at Waterloo, and why was it Cody Von Ruden? Who, for fans that don't know, real quick, Cody Von Ruden used to work for the Kings and was a great member of the hockey development department. So thoughts on him?
No, he's an awesome guy. He definitely wasn't a liability at all. He's probably one of the best defensemen I had in Waterloo. So it's too bad that we had to part ways quickly, but it was good to see him when he was working with LA. And it was cool that kind of things came full circle for each other, and we were able to be part of the same organization. So wish the best for him. He's an awesome guy.
Love that. We miss Cody. He's a great person. We've got some more questions here. Go Kings Go TV wants to know what goes into the design on your goalie mask. And back to last year's goalie mask with the hints of sneakerhead. Do you still collect sneakers?
Yeah. So with my mask, kind of ever since juniors, I kind of have a little nod to Patrick Wan, his kind of classic design they had his rookie year with Montreal, and it's something that I really like. Clean lines and things being symmetrical on each side, and I think it just has really looked good with kind of any jersey you throw with, and I'm able to be put my little unique twists on it, with the chrome and the matte and kind of having different things pop. But last year I kind of had a little LA Kings off-white sort of thing on the back plate, and sneakers and fashion is kind of a big thing for me. I love collecting shoes, and it's kind of a bad habit, but it's I've never bought a bad pair of shoes, is what I always say. And I got a really good buddy, Anders Bjork, on the Boston Bruins, and we're always sending shoes back and forth to each other, and have to give each other the okay if we both buy the same pair of shoes. So yeah, so so we're always kind of buying random stuff, and there's nothing better than getting a brand new pair of shoes.
Is that like a sneakerhead thing? Like you don't want to step on someone else's style, no pun intended, but you don't want to have the same new pair while your like buddy has the same new pair. Is that just something you have to coordinate? Is that an unspoken rule?
Yeah. You just don't want, you don't want somebody thinking that you're copying the other guy or vice versa. So you want to make sure that, your shoe purchases are original and they're unique to you.
Love that. Anybody have good shoe style on the team other than yourself?
Other than myself, Mike Amadio and I, we kind of send shoes back and forth to each other.
Okay.
He's usually good at getting some good shoes. Matt Luff has some good shoes. Kempe, obviously, he's kind of more on the designer side, but always has good shoes. So there's guys that bring the heat, which is nice.
Adrian has fancy taste. Like it's intimidating. It's just style is unbeatable.
It's a good thing you got his new deal.
Very good thing here. Let's take one more question, and then we're gonna wrap it up here with Cal. For all the season ticket members watching, this has been such a delight just to know that you guys are on the other side here supporting this while hockey is on pause. It's delightful, and you can kind of feel that the community is here, even though we can't see everybody all at once. But soon we will be able to. And let's get one question here. Oh, this one's cute. Christopher Davis, he has a question for Jackson, who's 8 years old. It's a season ticket member. It's our first year, and he wants to know what gets you psyched up for games. All right, Jackson, he's going to let you know.
What gets me psyched up for games? Well, right now, I mean, it's a chance to play in the NHL. It's every day that I get to wear the Kings and represent the Kings is a dream come true. So right now, kind of where I'm at in my career, I don't need a lot of things that are psyching me up. It's more so just, like I said, getting to walk into Staples Center or any other NHL rink is kind of a realization of my dream, and it's something that I kind of want to go as long as possible. So, as much as I'm a 25-year-old playing in the NHL, I'm still kind of an 8-year-old kid in awe of the guys that I'm playing with. So it's a lot of fun and a dream come true for me. So I'm just living in the moment.
Well, Cal, it's a lot of fun to watch you play as well. And I'm sure all these season ticket members can agree. And wow, we sure do miss hockey, if that's the common theme here. And it's been great having you spend some time with us, especially while you're in the middle of a move, and be able to chat and just catch up here. And for everyone that's on here and watching, do you have anything you want to say to them, and kind of how much you miss hockey as well, and what you're looking forward to when we get things going back here?
Yeah, I mean, first, just, thank you for the support. Even to just hop on a call like this, shows how hungry you guys are as fans for hockey, and just know that, you know, the players are doing everything we can to get back. We just kind of have to wait for it to be safe for everybody to be able to enjoy this game, and, you know, don't want to put anybody at risk, and anybody that's vulnerable. And we can't wait for the next time that we're back out on the ice and in front of you guys, whether that's with you guys in the arena or on TV. Either way, we know how fortunate we are to have fans like you guys. And so just want to say thank you for that. And, you know, that's what's keeping us motivated for next season, and hopefully to compete for Stanley Cups here in the next couple of years.
Well said, Cal. Thank you so much again. Tell Theo, the fan, say hello. We're looking forward to more pictures of that cute little fluff ball. And it's nice to see you're happy and healthy. And we can't wait to see you back at the rink. Thanks for doing this for us.
Yep. Thank you very much. And hope you guys all stay safe.
Thank you, Kings fans. We'll see you soon.